This video is going to be about making histograms. Now, histograms are kinds of graphs that look like bar graphs, but they're not bar graphs. Bar graphs are specifically used for mostly qualitative data. For example, you've seen bar graphs your whole school life. Bar graph would have separate bars along the bottom. They're usually labeled something with qualitative data or descriptive. For example, types of pets. You could have cat, dog, fish, horse along the bottom, and then how many people have each kind along the side. And you just have a bar for each of those. Typically, it's qualitative data for a bar graph. You could have quantitative data. The quantitative data could be how old are the people. They are 10, 11, 12, 13, and then how many people are 10, how many are 11, how many 12, how many 13, and so on. But we are going to be talking about histograms, and the major difference between a histogram and a bar graph is the histogram has to be used for quantitative data. Has to be numbers on the bottom. Okay, that's the first thing. Now, since it has to be quantitative, it also is used for continuous quantitative data. Remember that continuous means that it continues. It continues. There's specific values that are between the whole numbers that you can't get down to that precise amount of measurement. For example, when I say I'm 5'5", I'm not exactly 5'5". I'm 5 feet, 5 inches, point, who knows. I didn't get from being 5'4" to being 5'5" by just going 5'4" one day, 5'5" the next day. No, I grew everything in between 5'4" to 5'5", all those decimals and fractions. That's what's called continuous. So a histogram is going to be used for continuous quantitative data. Has to be numbers. Okay, now it's going to look like a bar graph, except for these three differences. Has to be quantitative, continuous only. That's just my abbreviation. Also, the bars have to connect. In a bar graph, the bars are separated. But the reason why the bars have to connect is because we have to include all the numbers that are between any particular whole numbers that are on the graph. That'll make sense as I make one. Also, along the bottom where you're going to label, it has to be in intervals. We are not saying how many people are 10, how many are 11, how many are 12. We're saying how many are between 10 and 12, because that includes all the decimals and fractions that would be in between those whole numbers. So these are the major differences. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and make one, and I'm going to make a histogram out of the data for heights of trees. Okay. So I've got 25 numbers here. That's a pretty big list. All of these trees are somewhere between 50 and 70 something. We'll call these inches. So 50 inches is 5 times 12 is 60. So 5 feet tall is 60. So these are all a little bit less than 5 feet up to a little more than 5 feet, somewhere around 5 feet tall. And we're going to organize this data in some way to make it into a histogram. We can't just start making a histogram. We have to have the data organized to make the intervals that go along the bottom. So in order to do that, I'm going to use a graph called a stem and leaf plot, because a stem and leaf plot will organize large sets of data into a pretty small space here. So here's how you do this. The stem stands for the numbers in the tens. So all of these are either 50, 60, or 70. So my stems are 5, 6, and 7. Okay, now my leaves are the numbers in the second number here. I could have a 3-digit number, so I don't want to just say the last number, but in this case, it's the 8 and the 6 and the 2, for example. It's the number in the ones column. Okay, so we got to put these in order. And I'm just going to put these quickly. We've got 50, 52, 52, 56, 56, 7, 7, 7, 8, 9, 9. Okay, so here's how you interpret that. 5, 0, that's 50, 52, 52, 56, 56, 57, 57, and so on and so on. Notice that if I have more than one of those, I actually list all three of them. That's 3 57s, 2 59s, and so on. Now I'll do my 60s. I've got 60, 62, 62, 62, 64, 65, 5, 5, 8, 8. There's my 60s. And then finally my 70s are 70. 71, 72, and 75. Okay, so I took this set of 25 numbers and put them into a stem and leaf plot. Now, why would I want to do that? Because now I can see how many numbers I have in my 50s, how many I have in my 60s, and how many I have in my 70s. So I could make 3 intervals on the bottom, 50 to 50, or 50 to 60, 60 to 70, and then 70 to 80. I could do that, but I kind of want to make it a little bit bigger, smaller, I mean, break it down smaller. So I want to actually do 50 to 55. So I'm going to put some lines here, 60 to 65, 70 to 75. Those are going to be where I'm going to put my my intervals. Okay, so here I go. I'm now going to transfer these to a graph that we're going to make. It's a histogram. Now my intervals are going to be between 50 and 55, and then 55 to 60, and then 60 to 65, and then 65 to 70, and then 70 to 75. So let me draw those out here. I'm actually going to put it going the other direction so I have more room. I go 50 to 55, and then 55 to 60, 60 to 65, 65 to 70, 70 to 75, and I didn't have any bigger than 75. Then I have to count how many is going to be the tallest bar. Well, the tallest bar here, in my 50 to 55, I've got 3 of them. In my 55 to 60, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 8 is the tallest bar that I need to make. Okay, so along the side, I'm going to label 1 through 8, or I'll just do 1 through 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so these are the heights. These are the frequency. Make sure you label. Heights of trees is the title of my graph. And that's how you set it up. Okay, now, quick recap. I had a great big list of numbers. I organized them for myself by putting them into a stem and leaf plot. Then I transferred the stem and leaf plot intervals that I made into intervals on the bottom. Now I'm going to make my bars. My 50 to 55 is my 50, 52, 52 in my stem and leaf. That's 3 numbers. So I go up to 3. Next, 55 to 60 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was the one that I had counted. That went up to 8. 60 to 65 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a second. I made a mistake on this labeling, so I have to redo it for a second, and I'll explain it to you. Okay. I made a mistake in the fact that I had these overlapping. We don't want to overlap them, so it's got to be 50 to 55, then 56 to 60, then 61 to 65, 66 to 70, and 71 to 75. And the reason why when I could stop this video and remake it so it shows that I didn't make any mistakes, but that's stupid because, as you have already known, I do make mistakes like anybody. So it's all about checking your work. So when I went to make this next one, I thought, oh, 65, I already had a 65 in this column and this column, and I didn't know where to put them, so I knew that I had made a mistake. Okay, 50 to 55, I got. 56 to 60, I got. 60 to 64 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers. 66, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers again. And then the last one is 1, 2, 3 numbers. And there we go. That is our beautiful histogram of the heights of trees. So we have now grouped the heights so we don't have to make 55 bars. 25 bars, because there were 25 numbers. We don't have to make that many bars. We put them into equal sized intervals. Intervals do not overlap here, and no numbers are missing. So that's it. And we could tell kind of a shape of things if we drew a curve over this to sort of remind us. This looks like this might have a bit of a right or positive skew because some of the numbers are higher over here. So that would be basically, it's got two modes. I mean, two numbers that are the same, but this is the mode. This is the highest tree, so it's got one mode. Unimodal, right skew. There you go. That is how you make a histogram.